Hello everyone, welcome to Auto House. Today I'm on a CCM again, but this is the CCM Spitfire. So much like the CCM Maverick I was riding earlier, which is actually in front of me, is that one there with that lovely chap on it. This is the more road focused version, so you don't have your knobbly tyres, you have your road bias tyres, and this is already a hell of a difference. This feels a lot more like it was built for the road. It's got the same engine as the Maverick, so that 55 horsepower, 58 newton meters of torque, 600cc single cylinder engine from Husqvarna, but obviously they've kind of mapped it and done what they can with it to get a bit more power out of it. Suspension wise as well, the same, so we have Marzocchi forks front and rear, again preload, and compression is adjustable, rebound and compression is adjustable on these. Brakes are also J1 units. Whoa. 4 piston at the front with a 280mm disc, and 2 piston at the rear as well. So already I can feel a difference just on the front of this bike, because where the front felt very stiff on the Maverick, it feels a lot looser on this, and that's not a bad thing. It feels loose in the fact that you can sling this around corners, and it feels really light. What's really nice as well is that there's no cats on these bikes, and they smell amazing. But there is a dog over there. Even at slow speeds, this bike just feels quite fun. I feel like I'm sat more in an aggressive stance, or an aggressive kind of riding position, that I wasn't on the Maverick. That felt a lot more off-road focused, and obviously it will do, because that's what it is. But this, all I want to do is just get on a fast road and see what it will do. I like this leather strap they got here as well. Nice Spitfire logo. Oh yes, that feels so much better. As with the Maverick, you have these, again, really nice features. This CNC billet piece of aluminium here with your kill and your fire switch, which I think is just awesome. The names for that are fantastic. Also realised I had the indicator on the whole time, which is quite weird, because there's your indicators for your indicators, and they're not massively bright, so that's why I missed that. But then also I'm not used to the bike, and I'm sure if I was, then I would pick up on things like that. Decent amount of engine braking on these as well, and the brakes are very sharp. They're only a single disc at the front, but there is space to put another disc on there if you wanted to, so you could have a dual Brembo setup. You can see that down there. In traffic it's not too bad either. It's not fun, but it's not too bad. Fortunately we're in an average speed check zone at the moment, which means I can't have any fun. Whereas I had my foot resting on the exhaust. I do like the placement of the pegs as well, so they are mid pegs, and they are basically right under where my hips are, and that feels more than nice. I love the exposed carbon fibre you can see down there as well. The rear brake lever is exceptionally well placed, so that's a criticism I have of a lot of bikes, that they're normally too far inset, but this one is not at all. It's just exactly where you want it. And the rear brake, actually, yeah, it's okay. Rear brakes on bikes are terrible, but this does an okay job of it. You are started quite upright on this, but that's not a bad thing, because I'm quite short, which means that this isn't too bad for me, and I like sitting upright. I like this style of bike. Lying down on super bikes and sports bikes is fun, but this is a lot easier to ride day to day, and that's what you want from this thing. Again, I know I keep saying it, but this is exactly what this bike is about. That one is to look good and potentially go off-road if you really wanted to. This one is to look good, which it does, and actually be pretty decent in the corners as well. My only complaint though is that the seat on this does feel quite hard, and that might have been just because I've been riding bikes all day, and so my poor little buttocks have suffered enough. But the seat does feel a bit on the old firm side. But again, with CCMs, you can customize them to no end, and you can do whatever you want with them, and there'll be seat options and comfort seats and whatever you need to throw at them. So rest assured that you can get a bike or get a CCM that fits you perfectly. Yeah. Swansea's road system's terrible. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, this engine certainly has a lot of torque, and it's a lot of usable torque as well. It's not just like it's all at one point in the rev range, it's all the way across it. This torque just builds nicely. I believe the peak torque on this is at 6,000 RPM, and we're sat at about 3.5 at the moment. But even just a little squirt, it does pull off. It's not quite V-twin levels of torque, but then again, you've only got a little 600cc single, which sounds cool. We're still on a 40-mile-an-hour average speed check. I have no doubt this is to control emissions or something, which is hilarious because these bikes have no cats on them, so this makes absolutely no difference. I have got a sat nav on this as well, which is weird. So there is some technology. But again, all the way across the CCM range, there are no rider modes, there's no ABS, there's no traction control. It is just a bare bones bike. And that's what makes it so bloody good. I love the fact that you can go and buy a bike which doesn't have anything to really interfere with your riding experience. I know obviously there are some safety features, but this bike makes enough usable power that you're not going to get yourself into that many sticky situations. I think the seat is a little bit lower on this than it is the Maverick, because I can almost flat foot this. If you're watching this and you don't ride a bike, but you're interested in a bike, this is why you get them. Because traffic simply doesn't exist. See, all the nice people are moving out of the way for us. Not him, but the others are. Yeah, sounds cool. Sounds proper cool. Busy in Swansea today. And there's some real world kind of biking for you. What is this like? Well, okay. Well, the bike is obviously very nice and narrow, and it's very light, so going through traffic is super easy. You don't feel like you're gonna smack everyone's wing mirrors and whatnot. Finding neutral, it's easy, so you can tell there that your gear indicator is here, and when you're neutral it doesn't display anything. So they are liquid cooled as well, they're not air cooled, so you don't have to worry about sitting in traffic with it setting your testicles on fire. So you can see here, you get a nice little leather strap with your Spitfire logo. This pouch just has stuff in it. Wow, this bike is so light. It's a bit warm here. There's no temperature gauge, so I can't tell you how hot it is, and I don't know. But I can tell you it's quite warm. And sat on a bike, which to be fair doesn't actually put out that much heat, thankfully. But it's still quite warm. I like the little Union flag. It certainly goes okay. And that's the strange thing, like, you don't feel like it needs more power. It does feel perfectly adequate. But although 55 horsepower doesn't sound a lot, and it's not a lot really in terms of bike, but it only weighs 150 kilos. So it's actually more than enough. Oh, alright, that's the horn, not the not the indicator. Oops. So what are my final thoughts on the CCM Spitfire? Well, I actually really like this bike. It's very cool, it's very different, you know, it goes against the grain completely with the fact that there's no ABS, traction control, rider modes, etc. But if you want a bike that looks awesome, sounds awesome, and is very bare bones and very basic, well, not basic, unrefined, then yeah, genuinely check one of these out, because this has been a fun little experience. Anyway, thank you for watching, I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you again soon. That's a nice bike.